Hi, Cancer. Okay, so let's do this. I was watching something called The Chef's Table. It was kind of running from episode to episode while I was doing stuff. I was incredibly moved by it, so I had to watch it a couple of times. The few series or seasons that I've watched, just wanted to watch them over and over, because the first time I watched them, I was just in tears. Cancer rising. Just the beauty of how much people can love to do whatever they do. It's overwhelmingly beautiful. And there was an episode about a monk that lives in a hermitage in South Korea, and about her food and about her search for freedom. And one of the things that she says when she tells her life story is that she wanted to be a mother to everyone. To be a monk is to be a mother to everyone. First card out, judgment. So let's look at the classical definitions of the judgment card for a second. You have something that raises people even from the dead, the man, the woman, and the child. Something that touches everyone's life. So it can be the family, it can be big announcements within a couple, within a marriage. It can be you reaching the point where you really just want to talk. You have things here, I feel, especially if you're in a relationship where you feel very unequal. You feel like things need to be said, and you're afraid. But things will be said, whether you do it or it comes out because the world is, just moving towards it. It's just stuff needs to be said, and it's going to be said. So this monk talks about how being a monk is being a mother to the world, a mother to everyone, and how her entire vibe, not just with the cooking, but with everything, has to do with this incredible nurturing maternal nature. And everything she said, all I could see was this Cancerian energy, because think about it. A monk is so solitary. A monk is alone in a lot of ways. But it is exactly that loneliness and that removed sort of perspective that can make one the mother of so many. That seemed very appropriate to the Cancerian analogies that we've used that have to do with the shell and, the truly private nature of the Cancer, right? Four of Wands, Knight of Swords, 10 of Wands, lots and lots of wands. Lots and lots of chances to say really aggressive things, especially towards, again, someone in that situation with you. If you're dealing with an air sign at all, Cancer, they're coming up as wanting to talk about it too. So maybe be careful that it doesn't just turn into needless fighting. What else? Well, seems just like a lot of fire, a lot of speed. And crabs can pick up a lot of speed, sure. It's just not your nature, and I don't know how long you can put up with this level of excitement. I know there are things that need to be said. I know that there's like this, you even feel there's this like drama coming. I get it. Fire and roses, right? I get it. The flowers are there and the fire is there. Are you feeling like setting fire to some gardens? To your own garden? We know you got stuff to say. And I think, by the time you get to the Knight of Swords energy, anyone who exhibits that energy is someone who's just tired. Tired of being perhaps overlooked, perhaps not My voice even cracked. You guys are upset about this. Just taken for granted, huh? But we have work stuff moving in the right direction. We have a lessening of wands, though, so perhaps looking in new directions for work. Perhaps, you know, that Libra thing we were talking about, side hustle, second source of income. It's a good time for it, you know, it's the new year. Aries season brings all the opportunities. There's a lot of opportunity here. Some long-term opportunity, but also a chance to clear up some short-term stuff that's never going to become long-term, and you need to know now. You may also find yourself in a contentious situation with an air sign who wants to end something that you very much want to continue. It doesn't have to be a relationship, just some kind of a situationship, partnership, something you got going on with that person. 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles. The way you may be toyed with right now is heavy. You have toyed with someone, okay? There's always, right? We don't know. But either way, either it was you who left or somebody who left you, there is a palpable sadness now. And I think this happens towards the middle of the month if you go too aggressive and say like, okay, but I don't like this and I want to do this and I don't. And yes, the times call for you speaking your mind. I'm not saying you shouldn't. And yes, Judgment card is like major arcana, first card out. It's going to happen. Like the talks are going to happen. But you have control over the Knight of Swords. You don't have to talk to anyone with your, claws out. Of course, out of pride, you may want to. Yes, that's a read. And I think it's one that you need this month. Don't let your pride write checks that your body can't cash. Not this month. And when it comes to whatever situation where someone feels like you toyed with them or you feel like someone toyed with you, and that situation, that watery 8 of Cups ending is happening, I think you should be grateful because we all knew where that was going. Or where you already saw it ending up, where it was like already starting to happen and you were like, oh, no. We're not doing the 5 of Pentacles. Not doing that. 8 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles is a pretty easy read. 2 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, 5 of Pentacles, very easy read. Being toyed with, leaving the situation, the misery before, during, and after, and now the recovery from the trauma bonding. This looks like trauma bonding. And then here you are, Page of Cups. Towards the end of April, even like 3rd week of April, you're going to start to feel a resurgence of what you know is your mojo coming back. I'm not saying that things will work out with whoever you want to have this talk with. I think if you let your temper get to you, they won't at all. But I do feel that irrespective of what happens there is a leveling up and a feeling better. You start off small in April and you end big. You're happy by the time you end because you're getting closer and closer to your season. You're feeding off the sun. You're feeling better and better. Things will get better. You just gotta wait a little bit. And if you're already like, well, I feel great. Great. If you're dealing with a water sign, that person's becoming more and more a part of your life. Going from someone that you were like, I don't really know, to, yeah, this could definitely be the person. You do have the 4 of Wands there. That is a card of marriage. If you're thinking about it, you might be rushing towards it. And if you're rushing towards it, don't actually be alarmed because it looks like it'll work out. But these are the people who've already had the talks where they see the Judgment card come up and they're like, yeah, no, I already did that. So if you're following along here and on this timeline and you haven't had the talks yet, hold off. So about this bottom of the deck also, oh wow. So many. The Star, the High Priestess, and the Moon. There you are again. So, Pretty obvious stuff. Cancer has a chance to continue wielding this great power, or you have the unique opportunity of hurting somebody very badly, as only Cancer can do, and then retreating way back into the shell. And instead, we want to get you into the monk as the mother archetype, where you can be lonely and isolated if you choose to and still be of great benefit to everyone around you. And how do you do that? Well, it's a vibe. You know, the High Priestess is completely removed, and yet she is extremely helpful. It is her removal that gives her a perspective that is so helpful. And that's what you guys can achieve if you can step out of whatever this is that's bothering you so much that you really want to talk about. If you can step out of that, right? If you can not get intoxicated with the fire and the fury of Aries season and how it makes your emotions burn. If you can keep your head, even though you have this savage urge, like, I really, you know what, I'm tired of this. I want to, this also, Knight of Swords, Four of Wands, is very common when someone is being given an ultimatum, like, either we're getting married or not, but you got to tell me now. Possible. So what you're talking, we're talking really generalized themes, Cancer Sun, Cancer Rising. With those of you who are really connected to your emotions, Cancer Moon, we're talking about somewhere where your feelings were not being taken into account. There was a real communication issue, and you've decided to go ahead and talk about it. How you talk about it, where you talk about it, when you talk about it, what you threaten to do or not do, don't say you're going to leave, is vital. Because if you say you're going to leave, this person might hold you up to it. If somebody has already left, or if you have already left, you are beginning the slow climb back. If you have reverted into something during the Pisces Mercury retrograde, an X situation, that situation may be quickly souring, because you as a Cancer and the other person also being a water sign, it's a little bit tricky for water signs to be together right now. It's a lot of unpleasant friction. So you may feel the need to, rabidly defend your happy home right now because it's not so happy, because it's not going well. You may also feel really aggressive because of the dissolution of your household, and you may feel really miserable and quite lonely. That's the thing that always gets me about that Five of Pentacles card. It's really lonely, even though there's two of them. They're both lost in their own miseries. So if you relate to, as a Cancerian, Cancer Rising, being in love with someone or being with someone who's lost in their own misery and can't even see you, and you somehow have then been packaged off into your own misery because they won't commiserate, welcome. We got your number here. So what is it? So what then? Okay, well, what then? The Moon, the High Priestess, and the Star. Very clear. Very clear. I suggest watching that Monk episode, honestly. And I have no affiliation to Netflix. It's not an ad or a plug or whatever. I was deeply moved by the type of food that she's creating, by the intentionality behind it and with it and for it. And just the way she speaks, it was like I don't know where her placements are. I didn't look them up. But her soul was so Cancerian. Everything she was saying was just coming from such a universal mother place. It was so beautiful. And it had that uncanny thing that Buddhistic thought has, where it's so stream of consciousness that this person isn't giving you some pre-packaged ideology. She's not just rattling off or regurgitating some dogma that she knows. It was right out of her soul was speaking, and her soul just happened to be speaking like everyone's soul does, those universal truths. that we all know. And it is that elemental part of you that I would ask you to tap into this month, just because being caught up in the day-to-day petty, being all the way in the really real, is going to be deeply unpleasant this month. And we don't need a lot of that. And the more you try to hang on to the really real, to the material, the more it's going to hurt. Because the person on the other side of this, especially if they're an air sign, they're aggressive and they're gaining a lot of power. Their power is growing. So no matter how you feel about them, no matter if you think they're your enemy or you guys are, whatever is going on between you, I would suggest not picking a fight. There are fights that Cancerians can win, and we've had those conversations where I'm like, okay, Cancer, this month, just say what you want, do what you want. This is not one of those months. This is the month that gives you all the power and all the confidence and none of the bite. And that's dangerous. Also, if you're dealing with a Pisces or an Aquarius, you can see here that your advice is to pull all the way back, because their energy is so focused on them that the only thing that you're going to get out of them is pain towards you. If you are looking for someone's external affirmation this month, Cancer, it looks like you're going to fall in every, in every pothole. I'm trying to think of a less New York analogy. I can't. In every pothole, you're going to, not an analogy, a metaphor. No, it doesn't matter. There are many pitfalls here. There are many proverbial pitfalls here, Cancer, when it comes to putting your happiness in someone else's hands. That's what the 10 of Wands and the 8 of Wands is about too. This Aries season is about self, and later in the month when Mercury goes into Aries, it'll be even more about self in terms of how you're communicating. And I can very obviously see how your words can get you in a lot of trouble this month. And the intentionality, again, behind the words can get you in a lot of trouble this month, because you're fed up. And I've had this conversation with so many Cancerians, and so let's have it here. If you wait, and you probably have heard this conversation, you've had this conversation with your mom or your sibling or someone, best friend, someone who really loves you. If you wait until you can't take it anymore to express how you feel, you always end up being the bad guy, because you're not addressing things as they happen. You're waiting until things have accumulated and the thing that it started with seems nonsensical at this point, but only you understand the compounded pain or irritation of what's happened, because you're the only one who's been keeping count of when it happened and compiling it. Nobody else has, because nobody else knows you're doing it. You haven't communicated this to anyone. So when you go for them based on all this compiled feeling and emotion and slight feeling like you've been slighted. And the person you hit that with, no matter how much bad stuff they've done to you, no matter how much you feel that they should be very cognizant of what they've done, you come across as the one who is in every way overreacting. You become the bad guy. Because your communication is coming from such a deep emotional wounding, and the wounding is coming from all the pressure that's being placed. It could have started off like a cut, but if you put pounds and pounds and pounds and tons of pressure on a cut, it'll split. And that's what happens. And then all of a sudden, Cancer has this gaping split wound and is like, look at what happened, and the person is like, I didn't do that. And some Cancerians are like, oh, this wound is about to split. I'm compiling, all this information and all these feelings and bad data. And I you know what? I need to chill. It's not you, it's me. I need to chill. But if I put any more weight on this, even if it's my own weirdo weight that I'm putting on here, this is going to split and I can't take it. So peace out, but I need to do me right now. Again, the monk comes to mind. The ability to be so connected and so alone. And you need to tap into that right now, because we know the North Node is there. We know you need to focus on self. We know you're distracted. We know you don't want to. We know getting angry and making drama is just another way of being distracted. And all of it just to hold on to something that you really can't hold on to anymore. I don't know how many times we have to have this conversation, but we could keep having it. It's okay. You know, Pisces and I talk every month about their feelings and about managing their feelings. It's okay. You have the kind of claws that when they clip into something, it's very hard to unclench them. And I get it. And it's a wonderful quality in many other ways. I would just like to see you use these qualities in ways that are productive for you, in your business, in your work, in your schooling, in your family. Of course, no one needs to tell you how to apply this to your family, but if you're lagging in that area, that's why you may be feeling a bit down, a bit like you need to get this affirmation from some other source outside of your existing support system. You don't. You need to focus on what's most important. You can't let your priorities go out of whack right now. You really can't, because you stand to lose so much more down the road if you do. You cannot see it right now, but I can see it. And the only way I can explain it to you, I mean, when you see the cards, you'll see it for yourself. It's like, it's just watch your words. You can say whatever you need to say without really hurting ultimately yourself. There's no other way to say it. All right, let's look at these cards. Mwah, love you. Really, it's going to be fine. It's just, it's a serious month. That's all. Okay. I'll be right back. Hi, Cancer. All right, let's take a look at these cards. Sun is shining. Fire is still burning. I want to clarify something. I think I might have confused some of you. When I say that things are working out with you in a water sign, this is only after the misery and the talk. If you're not at the stage where you've had the talk yet, I don't think that you should be trying to pursue anything. I don't think you should be trying to pursue anything anyway right now, because it looks like, okay, let's go through it and then I'll hopefully clear up the confusion, if there is any. I'm feeling like there's a little confusion. Okay. This card has come up in almost every reading. So Aries season is obviously turning out to be a time of telling the truths. The Judgment card isn't just about popping off. The Judgment card isn't just about setting the record straight. It's both. Okay? This puts you in some way on a long journey, but ending one first. So after this talk, after this conversation between you and the universe, you and a partner, you and a colleague, you and a sibling, a parent, something that's really important to you, after this moment, there is everything that happened before and after this moment. The Ten of Wands is the beginning of wonderful things, but it is the ending and the beginning. So something comes to an end and you pick up a new load and you walk forward. This quickness, this aggression is your response, your part of this talk, and how people are going to respond to you. So this is something that could come out and take you a few days to process. Once you process it, once you want to deal with it, once you want to talk about it, what's coming out of you is, why have I been dealing with this? Why have I been put in such a low position here? And the back and forth between staying and leaving whatever this is has put so much strain, not just on you, but on the people around you, and most importantly, on your soul. There's a weariness here. And it's a weariness that has to do with being played with, toyed with. Which, as all of us know, because all of us have at one point or another been toyed with, right? This is no judgment. Excuse me. But since we know and have been there, we empathize. And you should even empathize with each other. You're all going through a very hard time right now, Cancer. We know this. So if it's you or if it's somebody else that has made you feel diminished, especially in a love situation, it's made you feel diminished and now aggressive, that situation is dissolving. It's ending. The misery of it is also ending. So yay. You may feel diminished coming out of it, but you will regain your footing. Now let's get to the confusing part. If you are dealing with a water sign once this is all over, if the next person that comes in, which may be at the end of April, is a water sign, looks good. If this is a water sign you're still trying to hold on to and putting all your power into because you can't seem to let go, this will be an issue. Because I think that energy, if you hold on, is going to get stronger and move away anyway and take what's yours. You know, I think it's past trying to protect your feelings. I think we have to be a lot more practical right now. I know that's not the nicest thing to say to a Cancer, I'm aware. But your primary motivation right now, even though you may not feel like it, is getting back on your feet. Emotionally, financially, all of that, but most importantly, your soul, the way this weariness out of your soul. You're looking for that freedom again, which is why I kept stressing that monk story. Because in that isolation, in that mothering to the world, she finds ultimate freedom, and that's the coolest part of it. And what is the star, if not ultimate freedom? Think about the Aquarians you know. Aquarians have a free and expansive personality. The High Priestess can be free and expansive because she stepped out of the binary and out of the black and white. The Moon is free to change all the time and does freely with no apologies. And you are in the same way, the crashing tide, the phases of the Moon, the cardinal water. And you are allowed to change and grow, and you are allowed to move forward from things, Cancer. And this month, Aries season wants to teach you that. All right? In the extended, we'll also clarify this business up here, but we'll go through one by one and clarify them all. Oh, these are little lights that you put in bottles, and if you drop it in there after you turn it on, the bottle turns into a lamp. Kind of like what needs to happen with you guys right now. If you feel put into this situation, light yourself up. Your soul wants recharging, and it doesn't mind throwing you in the bottom of a bottle until you turn that light on. Let's look at it. We'll shuffle through and clarify each one. All right? I'll see you in the extended. I love you. I'm sorry it's a little bit late, but I'm glad I waited because I hadn't realized that confusing little bit there. And I don't like to confuse you. Okay? Mwah! Love you. See you right now in the extended. Wait, I'm forgetting to tell you something. What is it? Oh, yeah. If you go to my website, ambercon.com, you'll see right at the bottom, if you scroll all the way, if you scroll down, you'll see all the extended readings, and you can just press a button, and you can use PayPal, and you can use Express Checkout, and you get the link instantly. So cool. And of course, there's always Vimeo and the Vimeo subscription. Those are still options. Vimeo, of course, being the most favorite option, but I know a lot of you prefer PayPal, even though you can pay on Vimeo through PayPal, but you know, it's two different groups of people. So I've made the PayPal option easier, is what I was trying to say. All right, and also on the website, if you scroll down, you'll see that there's an Aries season guided meditation. It's also on Vimeo. And in that, what we do is we walk through Aries season using the symbolism of the mountain and the fire and gaining perspective and taking initiative in your life. Little something to get you through, something you can listen to every day, every evening. A lot of people listen to it at night before falling asleep and having really cool dreams. Love it. Rev fam forever. See you in the extended in a second.